It's time for the insane, the honest, and the profane with your host, Brandon Combs.
Jed Hoyer has been a coward as a GM. He doesn't go out and he doesn't make the big splash signings. He doesn't spend the money in the right places. But then I don't let Craig Counsell off the hook because, yes, did he get put in a bad spot with this rotation by Jed Hoyer? Absolutely. But then you didn't put those guys that you did have in a position to succeed in the playoffs.
And Ryan Fitzgibbons.
I mean, if he's just as good as Justin Fields, it's probably the worst draft pick in the history of Bears football. It probably is. And one of the worst draft picks in the history of the NFL.
It's Combs and Fitz, Windy City Sports Talk, right here on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. And what is going on, Windy City Sports Talk fans? It's your boy, Brandon Combs, along with my guy, Ryan. Why the hell do you watch sports while we're doing a sports podcast? Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Hey. I see the South Side jersey is on. You're excited. You're pumped up for your boys.
It's getting weird.
Look, man.
It's getting weird. It's like that time you're at a bar and you see a girl and you're like, yeah, I got no chance. No chance. Yeah. But you're feeling pretty good. You've had a few drinks.
Yeah.
And somehow the girl gives you a time of day. That is the White Sox season right now.
That's the White Sox season right now. Look, they're finding ways. And we're gonna dive right into the White Sox. We're also gonna talk Cubs. We'll talk some NFL. A lot of stuff to go off of in the NFL. But it's just, look, baseball right now in this city is fun to watch. Jeremiah Murray, full transparency, I'm watching the Sox game while commenting. Don't tell. I mean, Fitzy might kick you off. He might boot you. Stop pulling up your comments.
You can
not like when anybody indulges in sports while talking or listening to a sports podcast.
I'm just saying, why can't you? You can do that unless you're one of the podcast hosts and someone's telling you something, and you look like, I don't know, like you're in Men in Black and they put one of those things on your face so you can forget everything.
So what you're telling me is you don't have the Sox versus Tigers on right now in the background?
No comment.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I just figured, I assumed, because you're a Sox fan, Sox are playing right now. We're on the air. You probably have the Sox game on in the background. I've got the Sox game on.
Engaged. I'm engaged. I am engaged right now.
Congratulations.
I came with an anecdote. I came with the bar anecdote.
Oh, you meant in the podcast. I thought maybe you got engaged in.
That's not going to happen.
I thought you were just going my route.
No one who starts
let's see if I can get to 3 or 4 marriages. Let's see if I can compete with Combs. I just thought that's what was going on.
No one who starts a podcast with, yeah, there was one time when I was in a bar and I got lucky and a girl gave me a time of day.
True.
You don't end that story with they are engaged. They're engaged.
That's true.
Anybody.
What's going on? DJ Lil Bruce Nelson, what's going on? Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for tuning in.
We're doing good, buddy.
Ian Adamus, looks like. Dash I3S. What's going on? How you guys doing? Look,
welcome aboard.
I think that the White Sox, when you look at this team and what that they are doing right now, it's one of those where you put it into perspective and you hope that they can sustain this, right? Like you hope that they can sustain through June, because we've talked about the gauntlet of a schedule in June that's about to come up. But I don't see them fading away in such a manner that they're not going to be relevant coming out of those series. Though, coming out of June, I still think they're going to be a relevant team. Maybe not in the fact that they're above 500 in that stretch, but more so the fact that the entire American League isn't very good right now. And nobody's going to run away from the White Sox, even if they go through a stretch where they lose 13 out of 20.
Can I give you some names?
Can you give me some names?
I'm just going to start saying names of baseball
start
players.
Giving names.
Eloy Jimenez. Luis Robert twice. Yohan Moncada once. Yasmani Grandal twice. Miguel Vargas, Jose Abreu, and then there's a couple more in there, man. And now Munetaka Murakami, all Sox players at 7 who lost extended periods of time by the simple task of running to first in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
That could be the problem that stops the White Sox, is that when you hit the ball, what do you do right after that? I mean, they teach you this in T-ball. You have to run to first base. The Sox are the worst Major League Baseball team in the history of baseball at running to first base.
When
in the last 4 or 5 years.
When Mune went down on Monday, the first thing that I thought of as he was running, I just started laughing, not because I like Munetaka Murakami. I like watching this White Sox team play baseball. Call me what you want for being a Cubs fan that likes watching the Sox. I don't care. Like, I want both sides of town to be good. I want both sides of town to be relevant. When the Sox play the Cubs, then I'll root against the White Sox. But until then,
I have video of him running to first base. You want to watch the video first?
Go ahead. It sounds about right. And then when he pulls up lame and he grabs his hamstring, I'm like, look, the first thing I did was laugh because I thought about you and all the times that you talked about the issues with running to first base. And I was like, this can't be, this can't be real. And then you're expecting the White Sox, hey, now without Munetaka Murakami, this lineup isn't going to be as good. And then they come out yesterday and just, run it up. Granted, it's the Tigers, but they run it up against the Tigers. And it was a close game into the 7th inning. And they end up winning that game 7-1. You're still getting timely hits. You still got Colson Montgomery, who's still able to deliver. You got Miguel Vargas, who, again, looks like the player that the Dodgers gave up on, but thought that they had. And I think that when you look at this White Sox team as a whole, and with the state of what the American League is right now, they're not going away. They're not. And so I just, Jeremiah Murray. Us Sox fans have been going to the bar picking up 2s for years. We're calling everyone and we know to let them know we went home.
We went home with a 6. A wise man once said, Jeremiah, and you know this man, the South Side, where the men are the men, and so are the women.
DJ Lil Bruce Nelson says, waiting is over. NBA Finals, who you going with? Look, Spurs in 6. I know we're talking baseball right now, but I'll just give you a quick answer. Spurs in 6. I've liked this Spurs team since November. I've been shouting it from the rooftops that they're the best team in the West. I've told everybody that they're going to beat OKC.
I'm so glad they did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude. It was so
could
good.
not.
I
watched about 70-80% of that game yesterday, and it was, oh, God, please let the Spurs win.
Yes. The flopping with OKC is kind of ridiculous. But look, people talk about the Spurs and they're whining too. The Spurs do whine quite a bit. But that's the NBA now. Everybody in the NBA flops. Everybody in the NBA whines. That's just kind of what they do. I think they're a better team than the New York Knicks. I really do. I think that the key matchup in the series is obviously going to be Wemby versus Cat. And can Karl-Anthony Towns keep up with Wemby? Because Wemby's going to spread them out. And Cat can be a spread up. Cat's one of those guys who he can also shoot from 3. Not quite as well as Wemby. Wemby's got the range of Steph, and he can guard you like Shaq. Like this guy,
he can be moved around a little bit. He can be. I feel like he can be moved around a little bit, and be got a little bit. And yeah, when you're a big guy and you can shoot 3s, it's good. But are you getting open a lot there? I guess you can get open on anybody if you're 7'4".
Well, he had a game earlier in the playoffs where he had 31 points and 14 blocks. He had a double with blocks. Like it is insane to watch this guy who's 7'5" that can cross you up and can hit step back 3s. Like that's where when you start talking about combinations, you start talking about guys who can play both sides of the court. Just the same way that we talk about Shohei Ohtani and why he's so great, right? Because he can do all the things he can do at the level that he hits, at the same level that he's doing it as a pitcher as well. You're watching that with Wemby, and you're like, dude, we might be. And this is the first time that I've watched a player in full that I think that if the trajectory continues and he continues this for the next 10 years and wins 5, 6 NBA titles, we could be talking about whether or not he surpassed Michael Jordan as the greatest of all time.
Oh boy, here we go. Why would you go to the next? You were on such a good, you were doing so well, and you just had to go too far. You had it America up this entire conversation.
Why is that going too far?
You had a Cubby fan up this entire conversation.
Why is that
going all the way to Michael Jordan? The guy could hurt his back and be half the player he was.
I didn't say he's Jordan now. I said if the trajectory continues for the next 10 years and he wins 5 or 6 titles, we could be talking about that. That's how good he is right now. So if you're not watching the NBA right now consistently, or you're not watching what Wemby is doing on a night in, night out basis, this is that dude, man. This is that dude that you want to see what he's going to do next and how he's going to do it. These NBA finals, that series between OKC and the Spurs was setting modern NBA records with average for a series that's not an NBA finals. They were averaging almost 10 million viewers in that series.
Jeremiah wants us to talk about the Whites. I don't think he's liking basketball. No, I mean, it was a good series. I did the old OKC thing. I don't think even NBA apologists were coming out about OKC and how they were playing that series, which was,
yeah.
I mean, it was just a tough series to watch. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad what I thought was the better
to watch, because I thought that was a great series.
I thought the better team won. I thought the most aesthetically pleasing team won. The team that's and I think it's gonna be a really good series. I think 6 or 7 games. I think 6 games sounds good. Spurs win. I think everybody's gonna have the Spurs.
The bettors don't. Everybody, I mean, the numbers, everybody is betting the Knicks to win.
I don't really get that. I thought the same thing as you thought a couple of weeks ago, that the OKC Spurs series was the finals to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was the finals. But I could be wrong. I mean, those, you want to try to buy a ticket in Madison Square Garden. Holy cow. Nosebleed tickets are are they in the thousands of dollars? Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane, especially, I don't know, in this climate with inflation and interest rates where they're at. You got a bunch of rich people. You got 60,000 rich people going to a game, or 40,000, whatever they fit in there.
Yeah, but I mean, what you're looking at with that is that the Knicks haven't been to a final since 1999. I mean, this thing is 26 years in running, or 27 years in running, and now they're finally back there. They've gotten close a couple of times and have lost in the Eastern Conference Finals each time. Our guy Tibbs took them there last year, and Pat Boyle, who's on with me, on BetMGM tonight, Monday through Friday. That guy, he loves the Knicks. He's a huge Knicks fan. He's from New York. He's a Knicks sports fan, and he doesn't believe that they would be there now if Tibbs was still the coach of this team. So watching what they're doing and how far they've come, and that's a rabid fan base, man. It just is.
They almost made it to the finals last year, so they made it this year, and not having Tibbs got them that one extra win.
It's
out of 90 games.
Yeah,
90-something games. They got one extra win.
I think that they would still be there. But that's how Knicks fans are. It's kind of like us with the Bears, right? Where we believe that if the Bears had done what they should have done, which was hire Ben Johnson prior
2 years ago.
2 years ago, we think they would have been in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, I don't see how anybody could doubt that. I don't see how anybody could doubt that. I mean, they would have had home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Caleb Williams would have been a lot farther down. I mean, Caleb Williams didn't really make a turn until 9th, 10th game in the season. where he started to get the offense a little bit more. We can talk a little bit about Caleb too, but yeah, I mean, just getting back to the White Sox, I have a similar view with the White Sox, and I don't think the Murakami injury
Yeah.
helps my view. Is the same view you had of the Cubs a couple of weeks ago when you were saying this team isn't as good as people think they are and they have to add. I
Yep.
mean, the Sox, I don't know what they finally brought up Jacob Gonzalez, who has 19 home runs and 60 RBIs, and you had him in the minors when you got guys, batting 190 who can't hit home runs. This guy's got 19 home runs. He's finally up playing in Murakami's spot.
Yep.
I don't know what the front office is doing. They do need more power in this lineup. Yeah, it's been a pretty powerful lineup, but I don't know if we can count on Vargas and Montgomery to anchor it, or even Murakami when he was in the lineup. I still think there's a lot of holes on this team. I still think you need to be 30 players deep in this league. And I don't think they are. Yeah, I think something special is happening. I mean, go watch that Vargas home run.
Yeah.
There's 30,000 something fans. I have not, I mean, I've seen games, that are over 30,000 at this point in the year, but not like that. I mean, you got 30,000 people going nuts when he hits that home run to win it, that 2-run home run to win it. There is something going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really think this was the worst time to have what it has been your best player, maybe next to Davis Martin. Probably both been your best players, to have him go down right before this June that we cataloged 2 weeks ago that was coming, to have him go down now. It's
Yeah.
pretty tough. It's pretty tough because it's not just the home runs he hits. He gets on base a lot. I don't think you're going to bring a rookie in and from AAA who's going to get on base 37% of the time. I just
Yeah.
don't. I still think there's problems with the starting rotation, even though Anthony Kay looks good. Sean Burke's thrown well today. He seems to have turned it back around again, but I don't know. There's just too many question marks in this bullpen. There's too much question marks in this starting rotation. This lineup is just like the lineup that is just set to go through a cold phase. It just seems like it. They strike out a lot. There isn't a lot of really great on base percentages in this lineup. It just seems like a lineup where, I'm sorry, I think it's great what's going on. I would have never thought that and I think I think they'll be competitive for the rest of the season. They're winning more than 70 games, but
Look,
it's
I look at this White Sox team. I think that heading into June, you could make a move now. Why couldn't you make a move now? There's a guy like Carmen Mlodzinski of the Pittsburgh Pirates who he he didn't even get released. He didn't get DFA'd. He didn't get any of that. They were going to send him to the bullpen, and instead today they put him on the restricted list. And this is a guy who is 4-3 with an ERA underneath 4, who has a lot of throws. I think a high 90s fastball, has a few, like a 4 or 5 pitch repertoire. Like, this is a guy that, I mean, if for whatever reason the Pittsburgh Pirates were going to send him to the bullpen, when you've got a guy, I mean, they've got a couple of guys. I know Bubba Chandler, and I know I'm high on Bubba Chandler. I like Bubba Chandler, but he's 1-6 with a 4.85 ERA. And you were going to send Mlodzinski down and put him in the bullpen? Well, give Bubba Chandler a spot in the bullpen. Give Mitch Keller a spot in the bullpen. His ERA is close to 4.5 as well. So why would you do this to this kid? Now, there's probably a lot more to it. Maybe he's asking for more money. Maybe they know they're, whatever the case is. But and I know we know that they don't spend money, in Pittsburgh.
no,
So
that they're
why can't the
one
White
of
Sox
the
go and
worst.
make a move like that? I mean, this is a guy who I would love for the Cubs to go do. I just don't think the Pirates are going to trade him within the division.
No,
Why can't the Sox go and get a guy like this?
I don't see why not. I mean, I don't see why. I heard some argument, which was insane, that they should trade Davis Martin by the trade deadline because this is the highest stock you're going to have of him. I think we talked a little bit about this at the end of the show last week, but it's like that's right now that'd be 7. They have 4 more years of control with him. Like, you're not looking to trade. Like, the rebuild is over. You're in June, you're at least 3 games over 500. If they lose today, there'd be 3 games over 500. The rebuild's over if you're in June and you're 3 games over 500, especially like you said in this AL. This AL Central, which isn't great. I still think one of those bottom teams, I don't think it's going to be Detroit, but I think Kansas City or the Twins are still going to make a stab at it here. But I mean, it's not a crazy AL Central. It's not a crazy AL period. The Sox are in the playoffs right now at the season ends. Like, if it's not a disastrous June, like we said, if it's not a disastrous June, Davis Martin, one of the best pitchers in the league right now.
You see his moniker?
Greg Maddux. This guy. Did he just wake up?
He must have. Here? He must have.
He woke up. He rolls out of bed. Goes
Davis Martin is Greg Maddux.
Asks his girlfriend, the ChatGPT girlfriend that talks like, I don't know, Scarlett Johansson, to make me a profile pic of Greg Maddux. And then Greg Maddux comes up and and then he puts it on there, who's Davis Martin, because I said he reminds me a little bit after like a preamble of like 60 seconds of Greg Maddux, and he can't let it up. Davis Martin, I agree, has shown this isn't a fluke. He's a good pitcher. Yeah, he's at least a good pitcher. Too great pitcher.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to end up being an ace of a staff, but he's a very good pitcher. And I don't think you're trading anybody anymore. I think you're trading for people, and you have a lot of assets in the minor leagues right now that are redundant assets. Jacob Gonzalez today, who is an asset, plays shortstop. He's playing first base today because there's a log jam at shortstop. They also have Caleb Bottomer who plays shortstop. They also are going to draft a shortstop. They're going to draft Rock from UCLA. There's no way they're not drafting that guy. He's number one. He's 1A plus.
I've heard the rumors. I've heard that they might not.
That's all lies. If you don't
take them, then I mean, you've got to.
That's all lies.
Everybody's got to get fired on the spot.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're going to have a log jam there, just like the Cubs have a log jam in the outfield. So there's going to be trades. They should make trades. If they don't make trades, there's something fishy going on, because I don't know what's going on. They have a log jam
though? Like, couldn't you? I mean, if your infield was Moon at first, Mydroth at second, Rock at short, and Colson at third.
Yeah,
and Vargas is your DH.
Yeah, Vargas could DH and then just back those guys up in the field as he goes, because he could play first base too and third base, and a lot of these shortstops it's not like you can't make a shortstop a right fielder.
Yeah.
Shortstops are pretty good athletically, and I think they can play right field, left field. You know what I mean?
You can even make Moon as your DH so that, he can rest his hamstring between runs to first.
Stop it. Can you let other people run to first for you? I mean, can't we just get that rule in there? I mean, we're going to totally change. They're going to totally change the game soon anyway, because averages are down again. It's coming.
Yeah.
They're going to have some dumb rule. That's for just the White Sox. I'll run to first for them. I mean, I don't think I've ever pulled a hamstring. I don't think I've ever had a grade 4 strain in my hamstring. I'll run to first base for them.
Tony Dominguez trade. I mean, look, I'll tell you what.
Anthony, really?
We'll give you Shota and Tyon for Davis Martin and Sir Anthony Dominguez. How about that? Actually, you know what? And I'll tell you what. We'll even throw in Phil Maton. Does that work?
No, that works.
God, is that guy enough? God, he is so. It makes me angry watching Phil Maton take them out, and the fact that they continue to put him in pressure situations. It's so bad.
Are we shifting? I think we're shifting.
No. We're not shifting yet. Did you see the CBA stuff that happened this week?
No, I did not.
All right, so the players sent out the first offer, which For what it's worth, I still think we're missing games in 2027. I still think it's most likely going to be a full season. But it is a good sign that they're already going back and forth with one another. And the players made an offer that it was more of a competitive balance tax, so that the teams that don't spend money uh, aren't going to get as much in the shared revenue. They offered a few other things with that, but that was the big talking point, and the owners countered with a cap and a floor. Now, for those of you that don't remember, the last time that a salary cap was offered in a CBA was 1994,
Yeah,
and we
not good.
remember what happened there.
No
So,
World Series.
so this collective bargaining agreement is up on December 1st. They're already talking, but the owners countered that with a $245 million cap and a $171 million floor. Now, the players aren't even going to look at that. I mean, and nor should they. I think the owners just went with how much is being spent across baseball. Let's keep it at the same number right now, and blah, blah, blah. If the owners want to do this the right way, you have to give the players room to grow. That's all the players want, room to make more money eventually. And if you start putting it in to where you have I did the numbers before, and it was a $350 million cap and $150 million floor, creates $1 billion more in salary, creates more revenue for everybody involved. The owners will still make their money. Everything still goes the same route, but instead they offered a 245, 171. Here's my thing though. Did the commissioner, I don't even like saying his name because he's a clown,
Oh, God.
inadvertently,
Robbie
Mans,
Good
tell
man.
everybody with this offer? Did the owners inadvertently tell everybody with this offer who there's 15 teams that are beneath 171 right now? Did he just tell you all 15 of those teams could afford to spend $171 million on their payroll?
That's an interesting proposition. That's an interesting point of view that I would not have thought from that.
Well,
And,
I mean,
I believe it.
right?
I think the biggest liars probably in sports are baseball owners saying that they don't make enough money. I think they are probably the biggest liars in sports because they say the least. Football teams, you can kind of figure out what they're making, and no football teams. I mean, maybe the Bears try a little bit, but most football teams aren't going to lie to you and say they don't make money because
they
no
have cap.
no one's going to believe them anyway because football makes money hand over fist.
Right.
But
so is the NBA.
Baseball teams, just these owners are unbelievable. And that's a good point. That they at least make 171, that they at least make more than that. And these teams are making, could you imagine what some of these teams are making that are saying they're poor?
There's 5 teams or 6 teams, sorry, that are over the 245 proposed cap right now, and 15 teams that are below the 171. So if you're telling me, because this had to have been, hey, look, talk to amongst the owners, what would be a reasonable floor for everybody? What could everybody afford? And they had to have come to the agreement that 171 was the number at some point. So if it's 171 is the number that all of the owners came to and said, hey, we could all afford this and it would be fine, then what's going on with the 15 teams that aren't spending it right now? And I'm not even talking about, maybe not even the ones that are close. Like, you got a couple that are at 170, a couple that are 168, blah, blah, blah. What's going on with the Marlins? What's going on with the Pirates? What's going on with the Tampa Bay Rays?
The Pirates are a team that have never spent money. I mean, you could say, the White Sox are cheap, but the White Sox in 2022 are spending over $200 million. The Pirates have never spent over $200 million. They haven't spent close to that. So if the Pirates are making $200 million a year or 220, which they might be, a lot of fans come to that stadium. It's a very nice stadium. So they're making like $100 million a year because their payroll right now is $100 million. And that's actually kind of high for the Pirates. Yeah. So they're making $120 million a year. So every 10 years, they make $1 billion off this team, probably more. That's insane. That is
Yes.
insane. And they're crying broke and that these players make too much money. It's insane.
Well, that's the thing. And I've always, advocated for the players in this situation, because to me, the players generate a vast majority of the revenue. You could talk about, the vendors generate revenue, everything else generate, but none of that stuff is needed if there's no players. The players are the most important part of all of this. The players are the ones that should be making the highest percentage of the money, because I said it before, I'll say it again. How many times have you gone to a White Sox game and see somebody wearing a Jerry Reinsdorf jersey or somebody wearing a Chris Getz jersey? You don't wear the owner or the GM's jersey. You go to see the players. You go to watch the game. And when you look at I'm also a big believer in, you don't, and you and I have had this argument, you don't have to spend money to win in baseball. When you look at it right now, the number one payroll in baseball is the New York Mets. They're 25-33.
Well, wouldn't we say doesn't the Dodgers have to be the number one payroll? And I don't care about the deferred money, however you want to count it. I'm saying
sure.
the Dodgers are.
Sure. All right. So then the Mets are 2 then, if you want to go that route. The Yankees are 3rd. Toronto's 4th. They have they're under 500.
Yeah, but I think Toronto's coming.
The Phillies are 5th and the Braves are 6th.
And the Phillies have been better.
You've got the Houston Astros at 7th. They're 6 games under 500. They're not a very good baseball team. The Cubs are 8th. Cubs are 8th. The Padres are 9th at 212 million. The Detroit Tigers are 10th in payroll right now at 22-37.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
So and when you look at the division winners, when you look at
right now
winners, but division leaders, and you start looking at their payroll, you look at the Rays, who right now lead the AL East, and we just talked about the Yankees in the top 5 in payroll. The Rays lead that division. The Rays are 24th in payroll. They just spent barely over 100 million at 103 million. The White Sox are 28th in payroll. Yeah. They're right behind the Cleveland Guardians, who in the division. The Cleveland Guardians are right below them at 29th in payroll.
Guys,
so payroll doesn't equate to wins. I get it. You still have to
not
be able to build
not totally, but some of the teams that do pay for the best players, instead of getting the mediocre players, instead of getting the 3rd best shortstop in the free agency, instead of getting, they do end up playing better. And a lot of those teams that are top 10 in payroll are either making a move or not. The Detroit Tigers don't look like they're making any moves, but most of those other teams, I mean, Toronto's come back, Phillies have come back, the Rangers are kind of off, and I know the Rangers payroll, I don't know if they're in the top 10, but it's up there.
They're not. The Rangers are they're actually 14th in payroll.
Yeah, still top
behind the
top
Giants, who are 22-36, the Red Sox, who are 24-33, and the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are over 500 at 31-26. Like if you look at the top 15 payrolls, less than half have winning records.
But I think your point of what baseball teams are making, I think that point, that is also the main reason why we're not going to have baseball in 2027.
Yes.
Because you have these owners crying poor and nobody believes them. There's no evidence. There's actually evidence of the contrary, that they're making money. And it's kind of, I mean, it's kind of hard for the players to take this, especially at their $55 million off in their salary cap. If the players are at what, 300 million, and the owners are at 245. I don't even think the players really want a salary cap, but I think they're going to have to go for one at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't see how there's not a stoppage. I mean, this is kind of like the Iran war right now, where you just got two sides that are just totally in different corners.
Yeah. You look at everything that's going to happen. That's why I do believe we're going to have a stoppage. I mean, I don't even expect I expect the players to look at this, assume it's a slap in the face, because it kind of is a slap in the face. But when you're watching what these teams are doing. And I get what you're saying with the teams that buy the best, and that's what the salary cap and salary floor will do. It'll make it so it's more like the NBA, where there is max contracts, there you can spread out the talent a little bit better. You can do all that stuff. I understand that. But you're looking at one, could you imagine that's the other thing. Hold on, let me not get off track here. But you're looking at a at revenue and at players where it would be more spread out. But right now, it you could almost argue that the way that it is now, it's already spread out proportionately, because there are teams that aren't spending money that are still winning. There are teams that are spending money that are better baseball teams than teams that are. Now, take the Dodgers are one thing. The Dodgers also built their roster in a way where they could sustain injuries, they could sustain everything. Just get us to the postseason, and then nobody's going to touch us. That's how the Dodgers built their roster. That is on the GMs. Like, you can't. The Mets have tried to spend Dodger money, hasn't worked, because they didn't build their roster the same damn way. You look at all of these teams that are in the top of the top 15 of payroll, and you start comparing them, and then you've got 3 teams over 500 in the bottom 4 of payroll. Like, that shows you right there that it's not about the money spent, but it's about how you spend the money in the players that you put together, the way that you can develop talent, the way that you can actually look at talent, watch college baseball and see who's coming up. Hey, this kid's going to be good. Hey, we should draft this kid in the 3rd round. Hey, this kid's going to be a star. I see something in this kid. Like, that is how you build a baseball team, and that's how you win a building organization. The Dodgers have the best of both worlds, because their minor league system is top 5 and their payroll is top 5. So they everything the right way. So sure, are they a model organization? Yes. But you can't tell me that spending money equates to wins, because we've just proven time and time again that that's not exactly the case. So I get where the owners are coming from. I get where the players are coming from. I really do. Here's my other question: is, even let's say that the players accepted this. Let's say the players like, yeah, you know what, we'll sign that 245, 170. That sounds good. What do you do going into next year with the 5 teams that are over that? Like, how long do the Dodgers get to come beneath that? And what do those parameters look like? Because that's what I would like to know. That's a part of the meetings that I want to, whatever the number that ends up being agreed upon, I want to know how long they have to come beneath this. Because let's say it's 240 and the Dodgers payroll is at, technically at 300 right now. Are they still allowed to defer? Could they rework the contract to get them all the same players that they have now and defer more money and make their
I
payroll
mean, I
down to
don't even
240?
know
Or
how
do
that
they
would
have to
work.
make
They would
trades?
have to be grandfathered in somehow. I don't even
Then
know
doesn't that
how.
defeat the
And
purpose
right now
of
they're
the cap?
saying payroll is approximately this. I mean, their payroll is 410 million. They're saying. I don't know if that where that money's coming from. It's saying 300 million on Spot Track. Who, but still, I mean, I don't know how they get under that. I still don't know how they get under that. Unless you're giving them 10 years to get under that. That's another problem that's going to have to be calculated. Like, the Dodgers are just going to have an unfair advantage then, and no team can catch up to them. And I think some players are going to be like, there isn't. Yeah. Do some teams have to get up to a threshold? Yeah, but I don't know if every team is going to be able to spend $170 million if the talent isn't out there, if the certain players and the contracts aren't out there. So there's going to be a penalty. There are still going to be teams under 170 million. But players will say, well, someone's going to eat that penalty, whatever that penalty is, to go to 100 under the 107 basement, or whatever the 170 million basement, or whatever that basement's going to be. That means there's going to be less competition for contracts, and the contracts are going to start coming down.
Well, if you start looking
think
at
that's
the way
why
the
players
NBA
are gonna.
works, right? Like, the way the NBA works is you have the cap, but you also have a second level of the cap, but you have to pay extra money to get to that second level of the cap. And I'm not sure if you can go above that second level or not, or and if the luxury tax just continues to go up the more money you spend, because that could be a thing too, where the Dodgers are like, hey, look, we're above payroll, but we're going to pay this much more money, and they might be okay with going above the luxury tax the way that they do now. They might be okay with paying that extra money because they have 9 owners and because they're all billionaires, that they're just like, yeah, whatever. We don't care. We just want to keep winning championships. They make an insane amount of money. So if you want to look at it that way, if that's what it's going to be, then fine. Because I'm more in the ballpark of I don't think the Dodgers are ruining baseball. I think teams like the Pirates and the Reds and the Rays and all that, they ruin baseball by not spending. I don't want to punish the teams that want to spend to win. I do want to punish the teams that don't spend. So I think that there needs to be a harsher punishment to be underneath the floor than there does to be over the cap. There needs to be, whether it is loss of your revenue shares for that season, that'll make the owners spend. You want to talk about, loss of draft picks probably won't make owners spend, but you throw that on top of it. That's what I would do. You don't get your revenue share for the year. That gets divvied up amongst all of the teams that were above the floor. Your cut does. And if you're not going to spend money, then fine. And that's going to take some of these guys that don't spend, some of these owners that don't want to put money in. Like you're looking at the Pirates owner, I forget the name of the Pirates owner, but you take that guy and
Scrooge McDuck.
You kind of force him, you kind of force him to sell.
Owner's name,
right? If I don't spend money, I'm not going to keep losing money, so I'm going to sell, and somebody else can put money into this team because I'm not going to. And that would be the best thing for Pittsburgh Pirate fans, would it not? I mean,
no, yeah, I think that would be, but that's a lot.
Well, because then you're not worried about
a lot to consider happening
in 3 years. You're not worried about losing, so you're not worried about losing your stud rookie shortstop in the next 6 or 7 years, even though he just signed a new, I think he signed a 6-year contract, something like that. You're not worried about him walking because all of these things now you can afford to do, and your owner has to do them.
Yeah, that could quite possibly push some of these older owners who are just collecting money from their teams and holding these cities hostage. Mm-hmm. That could help with that. It could also not, but it could help with that. I could see that. I just also see there's so many complexities. Jeremiah says there would have to be contracts that are grandfathered to some extent. Yeah, I could see them just making it individual contracts that are grandfathered in. And okay, here is where your payroll is, and we're letting these contracts go. That still gives them an unfair advantage. For a couple of years.
You can't force these guys to rework the contract. You can't tell Shohei Ohtani you have to rework your $700 million contract. You just can't.
No way. You can't. Megan TV says, don't want to sound like such a girl, but I think magic and fun in the clubhouse makes a huge difference on a young team. Yeah. I think that matters less in baseball. I think energy helps. Look at what speed did. And I'm talking about the drug speed. Look what amphetamines did in the 50s and 60s for players.
So energy definitely is a thing, and it does rub off in a clubhouse. I think that the White Sox playing the way that they're playing right now it's fun to watch. It's special to watch because this is a team that none of us, including you and me, expected them to be where they're at. We thought, there could be an early season run, and then they win 70 games or so. Now I'm looking at this team, man, and I don't see any way they don't win 80. If not more than that.
Can I go back to my argument that they have to run to first when they hit the ball? Can I go back to that argument once again? But no, I think I mostly agree with you there. Yeah, it's tough with this team. There's just a lot of holes for me still. And it seems like a front office I don't know if they're willing to make trades. And I don't even know if they're willing. They've shown until this year that they're very slow to pull the trigger on bringing some of these rookies up.
Yeah.
But what's happening with your Cubbies, man?
Dude, look, so last night was fun. Last night was fun to watch.
Yeah, Ben Brown. It's looking good. We
I
didn't think Ben Brown could do something like this. We were saying two-pitch pitcher, probably bullpen guy, maybe not.
And they've won 3 of their last 4 after that 10-game slide. So you're going to run into bads and you're going to run into goods, especially with this team. Like I do believe that you're going to find that. But this Cubs team, there's just so many. They don't have enough pitching. They still don't have that one bat that you look at where you are like, yeah, that guy's gonna kill us today. We cannot let him beat us. They just don't. They have a bunch of guys who will come through here and there, right? Like right now, Ian Happ is on fire. But beyond that, Ian Happ, he'll have another 2 weeks after this week where he's hot. He'll have 2 weeks where he just can't hit again. And PCA last night, PCA was fun to watch last night, man. With everyone when they're chanting underrated, and he hits a 414-mile rocket straight into the section that is chanting underrated at him. It was fantastic.
Couldn't have been 440 miles an hour.
444 foot, 114 mile an hour.
Yeah, I thought you said 440.
No, you got to listen. Stop watching the Sox game.
I'm not watching the Sox game.
So we've got. That stuff is fun to watch. And this team, again, the rest of the season, they just have to stay consistent and win series. You don't have to have a 10-game winning streak, but you can't have another 10-game losing streak. You need to have the 7-3 stretches, the 6-4s, the 5-5s. Hell, even the 4-6 stretch is fine because you're going to go through those in a baseball season in 162 games. You can't go through these stretches of 10 straight losses again. And if you find a way to win 10 straight wins again, good on you. But you have to do this. And then the pitching, man, like Shota Imanaga,
you need a stopper.
You and I are, if we got out on the field today and Shota Imanaga was pitching, we would have a chance to hit a home run.
There's just not a stopper on this team. He's fine if he's your 4th or 5th pitcher, like I keep saying.
Ben Brown's been a stopper.
Yeah, for now. I mean,
yeah,
he's really good. Yeah,
I agree. It might not continue, but he has been the stop
for now. And we have had the discussion on Ben Brown where he's been up and down. Mm-hmm. We've seen this happen with Ben Brown before, and he has it seems like he's got another pitch now.
Yes.
But yeah. And he's got some decent off-speed stuff. So I mean, maybe that's your stopper now. You hope. But they need a proven stopper. They need to trade for somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not in June. It's got to be July. And I don't want to hear that, they're, we don't know what's going to happen this season, or guys have to play like they do on the back of the card. I don't want to hear any of that.
Well, I'm trying to
have to trade. That's why you go on 10 game teams that go on 10 games losing streaks. It's usually where if you go on a streak that long, it's usually because you don't have an ace or two, or an ace and a really good number 2 guy, because you don't have anybody that can stop a team, that can all of a sudden give up 0 runs, can shut out a team in 6-7 innings. Then your bullpen comes in, you win 2-0.
If Jed waits till July, the Cubs will miss the playoffs.
Whoa.
You cannot wait till July.
48 minutes in. 48 minutes, 29 seconds. Yeah.
Jed, I'm telling you, Jed, if he waits till July to make a move on this team, the Cubs will have another long streak in June. And the schedule is in position right now for them in June to find a way. The schedule in June is positioned for them to get back into the lead of this division. They have to make a trade now. They have to. You've got to, and I put it out on Twitter yesterday, and I had David Kaplan come at me because I just threw a bunch of names out there. I wasn't like actually saying this would be a trade. I just said, hey, you've got to do this, this, and this. You got to DFA Maton. You got to do this, this, and this. And they took it as, oh, that's what I mean. My whole point in that is that Jed has to sack up and make a move now. Like, I know, look, if I'm Detroit, the names I threw out, I believe I said you got to take Ian Happ, package Happ, Shota, and Moises Ballesteros and send them to Detroit for Scooble. Look, if Detroit were to take that, they're the dumbest franchise in all of baseball.
No,
I know
yeah.
that's not a legit trade. I was just throwing the names out there. Jed has to make a shake-up move like that, though. Those are the types of names
You need
that have to be
Alcantara.
involved in these trades.
You need Alcantara in a trade like that.
Yes.
You get Tarek Skubal, and we're talking. We are talking.
I see. I disagree. Yes, will they be better? Will the pitching staff be better? Yes, but can he hit? No. And their problem has been in this stretch is that they can't hit. Yes, Shota's giving up home runs. Tyone's giving up home runs. I understand that. The problem in that 10-game stretch was that they couldn't hit. They scored more runs in that first win against Pittsburgh. They scored more runs in that first one against Pittsburgh than they had in their previous 6 games combined.
That's You're probably not going to see them slump all at the same time again. They do have a varied lineup where that's what I'm worried about the White Sox lineup because you got 2-3 guys who can hit home runs in the White Sox lineup. After that, I just don't know what you have. But the Cubs have a lot of guys in their lineup that can get hits for them.
See, I disagree again. Like Dansby Swanson is Jason Hayward. I mean, he's an automatic out every time he gets up to the dish. He just is. He came up with the bases loaded the other day, and I couldn't get to my damn betting app quick enough to lay the bet because when he came up with the bases loaded, I was going to bet everything that I had on him to strike out.
In life,
and then he struck out. So like he is not. He's a good defensive shortstop. He cannot hit. Just cannot, flat out cannot hit. You look at, like, I think Nico, I trust Nico to turn it around. I trust Alex Bregman to turn it around. I think that those guys are guys that can hit. I think that those are guys
that starts to warm up. Yeah.
That can turn it around. I think PCA, and we talked about this when he got the contract extension. I think PCA is what he is now, which is a 15 to 20 home run hitter who's going to hit about 260 for you. And he's going to go through stretches where he's really, really bad. You look at Michael Busch. Michael Busch is hot and cold. He's another guy who's maybe a 240, 260 type hitter. Like, I don't think they have a bunch of guys.
You got a good point there. Yeah, you need someone dangerous in the lineup.
They need a Yordan Alvarez.
Johnny Fitzgibbons has woken up, and he's in the queue.
Oh, the manager definitely has something to do with it.
Craig Counsell, where's your grade at for Craig Counsell? You don't have to give a grade, but Nick Holmes is now betting on individual
because I knew what was going to happen.
He's getting desperate. That's a good point by Doubting Thomas. Again, AI, 52 minutes, 30 seconds. I said Doubting Thomas had a good comment. That's got to be the first one this year. And we're almost in June.
You know, to get back to the manager thing from your brother, look, I do believe like a lot of this does fall on Counsell because you've got to stop bringing Phil Maton into important situations. Yes. Is he a guy that you're paying money? Yes. Did he have a good year last year? Yes. But is he having a good year this year? No. So he's got to stop putting him in those positions. Let him succeed in the 4th and 5th inning when you need a spot start because Shota's given up 5 home runs. Or Tyone's giving up 5 home runs. Use him then. Stop using him in the 8th inning of a 1-run game. Put him in a better position to win the game. Stop messing with the way that they've messed with the lineup every day. I don't know who's going to lead off. I don't know who's going to hit second. I don't know who's going to hit third. Like, you just don't know coming into that clubhouse where you're batting in that lineup. In baseball, more than any other sport, is a comfort sport. It's about what you're comfortable with. And you've got to be able to do that. And look, I hate the way that the game is played now offensively because everything is launch angle. Nobody hits the way that they used to. Nobody's chasing 400 anymore. People are now chasing 300.
Like 15 guys batting 300 in this league.
It's insane. The average team batting average is 243.
Unbelievable. John says, I'd listen, but I have to go take a shit. Does he know he can take a phone into the shitter? Is he listening to us from like some old transistor radio in his garage that he can't move? I mean, are we on AM radio?
I
don't know. Craig needs to take them to the petting zoo.
Maybe he watches other things when he's taking a shit. Maybe that's what takes him so long in there.
Are you saying that he watches gay porn when he's in?
I mean, I was just going to say porn. You took it to the other way.
I don't know. Craig needs to take them to a petting zoo. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to help. Maybe some Ted Lasso stuff. Yeah, I mean they just. I really like them going out and getting Alex Bregman because I think he's just a way above average defensive third baseman. And I think he definitely hits for power, but I'll say it again. There is no dangerous hitter in this lineup, and that is hurting him. But how are you going to get a dangerous hitter in this lineup and a starting pitcher at the trade deadline?
You have to make the pitching move now. Like, whether it's Mlodzinski, whether it is going and getting Tarek Skubal, whether it's both of those, whether it is making a massive trade, you've got to go and do it now. You could probably get somebody in the American League right now with the way that the state of the American League is. You probably get somebody to sell there, but you've got to do something. And so I just, I look at the Cubs and I look at what they can do. You can go and get pitching now. And then at the deadline, the best bat available, you've got to go and get. I don't know that that's going to be Yordan Alvarez. I just threw that name out there because the Astros are pretty bad and they're probably going to start selling off. But you've got to go get a bat that you can insert into the number 3 or number 4 hole in your lineup. And pitchers are going to, and pitching coaches are going to look at your lineup and be like, that's the guy that can't beat us today. That's the guy. Because then that opens up everything for Bregman. It opens up everything for Nico. It starts opening up things for everybody that hits around him. Now, I don't know what you're going to do about Dansby because Dansby's just going to be the automatic out every ninth guy. But you can make your team better with that one guy that just makes it better. And I don't know.
You're trading a Ian Happ or something like that, or
Ian Happ, or you're trading a bunch of you're packaging a bunch of prospects. Maybe you're even you're throwing in a Shota Imanaga, who right now, look, he's still a major league pitcher. I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a pitching coach out there that says he can fix Shota Imanaga.
Is there a pitching coach on the Cubs that can fix Sandy Alcantara?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's had the blister, so he hasn't pitched in a couple games. But
I think he our recent game, May 26th, he pitched. Gave up 8 runs to the Toronto Blue Jays. But
yeah, and that's when he
came back. Oh, yep. Okay.
Yep.
That's a name that's been battered around. Davis Martin to the Cubs.
I'm thinking of, you said the Cubs pitching staff. I was thinking of the Edwin Cabrera who left with the blister. Not
on the Cubs.
Yeah. Sandy Alcantara. Look, that's a name that I wouldn't mind seeing either because he's a strikeout guy.
Jesus. Yeah.
Hey, how about Davis Martin and Moon for
this guy,
or Ian Happ, Bill Maton, and a couple of
shortstop and your shortstop,
Dansby Swanson.
That's him. Take on that contract,
and Kevin, and we'll throw in Kelvin Alcantara. That'll be the sweetener in the deal. For Moon and Davis. Why would you want to trade those guys right now if you're a White Sox? Why would a White Sox fan want to sell instead of buy?
I don't know. I think mostly a Cubs fan would try to talk a White Sox fan, not into trading to the Cubs.
But isn't Thomas is a Sox fan, right? Or is he?
Yeah, I mean, he's not a fan of really anybody. He's a fan of Doubting Thomas.
Oh,
he's a real big fan of Doubting Thomas. Yeah. I don't know if he's a fan of anybody. I don't know what he's a fan. He's a fan of the team that's winning right now.
I mean, since he's a fan of Doubting Thomas, you could just say he's one of one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sox will be sellers.
Wilson Montgomery, with the Sox down 1-0, just hit a home run to tie the game.
He's pretty good. He's a pretty good player. He's a pretty good shortstop.
Yeah,
I'll trade him for Dansby Swanson. I guess they're going to trade Colson Montgomery too. Even if Sox are sellers, they're not selling a pitcher who's past Tommy John surgery, who has another 4 years on his contract. They're not doing that. That just doesn't make any sense. They're not selling a starting pitcher who's at worst a 3 or a 4.
Yeah.
And that's making $780,000 this year. Davis Martin's making 780 grand. So they're not trading him. I mean, they might trade who's been hitting well, Andrew Benintendi. They might trade him. That might be a trade that happens, and he's been hitting pretty well. He's been hitting over 300 for the last few weeks. Seiya DH, where he had the best year of his career.
I mean, he's not wrong, but I just like who plays right field for the Cubs. I mean, you got Matt Shaw who's injured right now.
I think he's talking about when Shaw gets back.
I mean, but even then, like Shaw is just Dansby all over again.
He's very streaky. He at least he has good streaks, I guess, but he's very streaky. I don't think he's the guy they thought he was going to be. And I think that's a problem too. I think they knew just from the size of the contract and the way the contract went what Pete Crow was. I think a lot of Cubs fans who thought he was going to be some kind of perennial MVP. Pete Crow doesn't sign that contract if he knows he's hitting 30 or 40 home runs a season or something like that. So I think they knew Pete Crow was where we thought he was. 15, 20 home runs, 260, 4 or 5 WAR player, very, very good player. Maybe even has another great season, but he's not.
Well, he's on pace right now to be a 7.9 WAR. Is where he's on pace for. So his WAR is going to make some people who don't believe in him very upset because he's better than people like to give him credit for. And I know people, Sox fans especially. By the way, speaking of PCA, your brother's has still under construction. He must be done shitting now. Have you noticed since he got in trouble and since he got fined for the SMFDB,
someone couldn't say you suck to him.
Have you seen his new celly every time he gets a hit?
No, I don't know what a celly is.
I noticed it the other day. Celebration. You know how they get on the bases and they do those things where they
and you couldn't say celebration.
The Sox are doing right now. I think where they're grabbing the balls or something, like they're cupping something. They do this thing now every time they get a hit. PCA, I noticed it yesterday, and I don't know for sure that this is what it is, but ever since that incident, his new celebration when he gets on base is just this. And he thrusts.
So he's this is the WWE now.
I'm just saying, I think that's just he took what he got fined for and came up with a celebration in which nobody could really say, hey, that's what you're doing, because he could say, no, it's just, we're calling it relaxing. I'm kicking up in the recliner or something like I think it's phenomenal. I think
that is pretty funny. Lean in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lean in. He's already said it was dumb. He shouldn't have done it. Lean in. Yeah. That's the best thing you can do is just lean in. People will just forget about it.
I love every bit of it.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been great if you had maybe a Cody Bellinger in right field. That's all I'm saying. That would have been a guy who would have been pretty good in right field right now.
Or Kyle Tucker.
Or Kyle Tucker.
Yeah. A guy that you traded Cam Smith for. Yeah. Cam Smith in right field would be a good option.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just
she should lean in.
I think that's the invite. There are just so many things that the Cubs had, and this is my problem with Jed. And this isn't like ever since Theo left, Jed just doesn't have that one move. And I thought it was going to be Kyle Tucker, but then it wasn't. He doesn't have that one move where you look at it and you're like, yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy that Jed got that is just absolutely phenomenal. Maybe Bregman can turn into that guy, but even he's having a rough start to this season.
Yeah, he doesn't really have what's
his big move?
he doesn't have like the Aroldis Chapman trade, which I know Chapman almost kind of gave up the World Series, but he got him there. So
he
it's
doesn't
like,
have any trade. What is his big trade deadline trade?
no, it's trying to say that every team didn't trade for a starting pitcher. So the team that needed a starting pitcher more than any other team in the playoffs last year shouldn't trade for a starting pitcher because everybody else didn't do it.
3
Wow,
days
Jad, if everybody else ran off a bridge, would you do it?
3 days after the extension was the trade deadline. You couldn't have just waited after the trade deadline to see what he did before you decide whether or not to give this guy an extension? As the White Sox just took the lead now. I mean, just timely for the White Sox.
Jacob Gonzalez, the rookie, got his first hit as well.
Yeah. That's, I mean, the Sox team, man, they just keep coming at you. But no, I when you're looking at what he's doing, at what Jed has done or what Jed hasn't done, I mean, it's kind of glaring. And to be honest with you, if he doesn't go and do anything over these next 2 months, if we're still looking at the same roster, and you're not telling me that, oh, he went out and he look at the move he made and he went out and got maybe the 4th or 5th best reliever available at the trade deadline and that was his only move. I'm out on him, and I don't know how the Cubs keep him employed.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't even know why he got extended years ago. I don't know why that happened. I had nothing to go by.
Because he was Theo's successor. They thought they were getting a Theo guy, and they thought that he would be close to what Theo was, and he hasn't even been a tenth of what Theo was.
No, he's at best a mediocre GM until I see something different.
Yeah.
Doubting Thomas is using ChatGPT. The Chicago White Sox Magic Wand celebration is a viral dugout ritual driven by injured pitcher Mike Vassell, who uses a $20 Harry Potter toy wand to cast spells on players. Yes, he does.
That's what they do when they're doing this. That's what this is. Because that when you do that, that doesn't look like magic wand. I don't get magic wand from that.
Kyle Tucker has been pretty bad. Yeah, he hasn't been great. Cody Bellinger's been all right.
He's been
checked. I haven't checked in on him in a while.
Cody Bellinger's been very good for the Yankees. I liked Cody Bellinger too, man.
He would have been a guy that they could have gotten less expensive. We talked about it at the end of the year last year. Maybe would you be better with a guy who's an 80% Kyle Tucker or better than Kyle Tucker right now? Tristan Peters. This is the White Sox season right now. Sometimes things just go your way. They got a guy from the Savannah Bananas who just took the lead for the Sox.
Did you hear?
Just had the hit that took the lead for the Sox.
Did you hear the damn it, where was I going with that?
Scarlett Johansson told me this directly. See? I'm telling you. He's talking to AI and it's telling him all the good stuff. It's just a feedback loop, a positive feedback loop for Doubting Thomas. So he just has AI telling him positive things all day.
The Bananas are rallying to get him into the All-Star game.
If anybody can do it, Tristan Peters in the All-Star game with what? 2 home runs.
I mean, unreal.
This is your worst nightmare, isn't it? We're living your worst nightmare.
No, it's not the worst nightmare. It's just you've got to do some things and you've got to make some moves and you've got to do things that people are uncomfortable with. And that means, trading Ian Happ. That means trading Ian Happ. Yeah, I don't
might have to make some bad moves. Yeah, like trading
contract.
Wiggins or trading Alcantara or whatever you got to do. Yeah. Whatever you got to do. Yeah, you do. You have to make what could be a potentially bad move and try not to be the smartest guy in the room all the time.
How about develop a player? Well, I mean, I guess you could argue they developed PCA. You could argue they did develop Ben Brown.
Is Ben Brown a success yet?
Matt Shaw, Ian Happ is a homegrown guy. Like, I mean, they have
been on the team for 10 years.
Miguel Amaya. I mean, they have developed guys. I mean, Moises Ballesteros, guys that are actively playing on this roster, they did develop. I mean, I'm not saying that these are all-star players or all-star
They
caliber
got
players. They
PCA
have
from the
developed.
Mets. The Cubs are the new Sox. Oof. Ooh. Well, if the Sox win today, they'll have the same record as the Cubs.
If the Cubs lose, yeah.
No. No.
Yeah, they're a half game behind the Cubs. The Cubs, they're 31-27. The Cubs are 32-27.
Yeah, I know. The Cubs don't play till 6.
I know.
So the game
So
could get rained out.
They'll have
A meteor could hit.
they'll have the same record as the
planet.
Cubs until the game starts at 6.
No, once the game starts, the game isn't just automatically over. The game's got to end
Okay,
too.
all right. So by the time it ends by 9:00. You're such a jack.
I'm enjoying this way too much. And your face is starting to get more a darker shade of red as we talk, as the blood rushes to your face. Should we get to the NFL, seeing that that's what the title of this podcast is?
I was just going to say, did you
Is
hear
Joey Cora the third base coach of the Tigers? I've had a 25-year career coaching third base. Well, he was the bench coach for the Sox when they won the World Series. And I also heard something about Joey Cora.
What'd you hear?
Can I tell the story?
Go ahead.
I used to, when I was in broadcasting a long time ago, I worked with Terry Armour, who was he was on the beat for the Bulls when the Bulls won all the championships. A lot of people would probably remember his name. And also, big White Sox fan, South Side guy, and he would go into the clubhouse all the time. And he saw Joey Cora, who's probably like 5'6", with his pants off quite a bit. And we're talking about a Savannah banana.
Oh boy,
A Savannah banana that Joey Cora had.
This is the story you wanted to tell.
It looked like a baby's arm from what
now your brother's got to go take another shot.
Baby holding an apple. Yes. John's got to go take another shit all of a sudden.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, so we know Joey Cora's packing. Maybe that's why he's been in the league for 25 years as third base coach. Maybe that's how he waves his guys around to home plate. Maybe it's not his arm.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Scarlett Johansson just told me you're gay. Hey, what am I supposed to do? I'm relaying a story. I have my sources. I have my sources too, and I can name my sources because Terry Armour unfortunately passed away.
Have you heard the Jackson Dart stuff?
Yes, I have.
In the NFL.
I want to hear your viewpoint first, though. But I have heard of it. I read a little bit about it, heard about it, heard some people's takes on it, which I'm
pretty sure you already know my viewpoint on it. It's dumb.
I think I do. Yes,
it's dumb as shit.
Pretty
close I don't to it. Yeah, I don't care what what president we've had in. I mean, there's always been people who supported it, who didn't support it, who liked some decisions, who didn't like some other decisions, and there's still been players in locker rooms that have gone to events with said president.
Yeah,
and regardless of what his political fit, I don't care what it is, because I care about what he does on the field. I care about what he does when he's between those lines, and I think that the Giants have done a good job of figuring that out. And I look for his teammate to come out and be like, "Oh, I thought this was AI," blah blah blah. But the way Jackson Dart handled it the other day with his press conference, talking about, "Hey, we had this conversation. I respect him for what he believes in. You respect me for what I believe in. We move on. We move forward." And Jameis Winston was actually the voice of reason with his press conference too.
Yes. I want to hear the Jameis Winston press conference.
If you haven't heard it, you should definitely go back and listen to it, because he was actually the voice of reason in this whole thing, which was crazy.
Yes.
I think that it's wild that in a week where Josh Jacobs gets arrested, that these are the NFL headlines. Where Josh Jacobs gets arrested with like 5 different counts of domestic abuse. I mean, this is the NFL, and this is the problem that I have with the NFL. when you look at suspensions in the NFL, longest suspension was Alden Smith for 5 years, right? For the substance abuse program. Michael Vick, obviously 2 seasons and definitely suspended because of the dogfighting thing. Calvin Ridley for gambling. Vontez Burfict for his hit, is repeated, cheap shots. Everybody else, when you look at like domestic violence and all of these other players, if you look up how many players have been suspended because of domestic violence, of the 18 people that have been this was back in 2024 where I found the article, of 18 players that were looking at domestic violence allegations, only 2 of them had been suspended. The NFL cares more about whether or not you smoke weed or whether or not you go to the White House or wherever he was at to introduce Donald Trump than they do about guys who are beating their wives or their girlfriends or whatever this woman was to Josh Jacobs. And I mean, you're gonna look at what, like a 2-game suspension? Rashee Rice probably gonna have to sit out the whole season because he smoked weed and then went to jail. I mean, granted, it was part of his probation, and that's why he went to jail for it. But these are the things that the NFL, the policy for the anti-drug and stuff. I understand it. I understand the reason for it. But the things that they've done for just smoking weed, the suspensions that they've handed out for that, don't even compare to the stuff that they've done against domestic violence and all of these players that do stuff. What did Ray Rice get?
I know.
A game
until the video came out.
Well, yes. Well, why does it take that?
Yeah.
Anyway, then I don't even think he was suspended. Nobody signed him because he was a free agent. It wasn't even the fact that he got suspended. I think he got a 1 or 2 game suspension.
I think the Jackson Dart thing, I will say that Jameis Winston, being the sane one, a sane person to an insane society must appear insane.
Yeah.
That I don't know why I remember that line from Kurt Vonnegut. I was actually looking it up when you said Jameis Winston was the voice of reason, but I don't really know why Jackson Dart did it. I've seen some dumb memes either way. One meme was like, well, Patrick Mahomes went to see Biden. And it's like, yeah, he won a Super Bowl. You go to see the president. Jackson Dart did not win a Super Bowl, and he's at a fucking rally. So there is a difference there. But I will fight for him to go to whatever rally he wants to go, even though I think Trump is a con artist windbag orange guy who should never have been president, is only president now because our government is just so terrible and has lied to us so long that it made Donald Trump a reality show TV star, not just for The Apprentice, but also for WWE wrestling. They made him look so good that he's president, even all that. And I still think, Giants players can be like, yeah, I don't like that he went to the rally. I still think Giants players can say that. Now, Absolutely. Can they boycott playing with him? No. And I also think Jackson Dart, do something on the football field, dude, and don't fumble the ball in the third quarter, holding the ball like a loaf of bread against the Bears, even though it allowed the Bears to win the game. Don't hold the ball like a loaf of bread when you're trying to run and score a touchdown. And you won't fumble there.
I could care less what his political affiliation is. I could care less what any player's political affiliation, religious affiliation, sexual affiliation is. I don't care. Like it doesn't bother, and it shouldn't bother anybody in the locker room. You should know that you're going to get a bunch of people in there with a difference of opinion. Does that mean that they don't support you? No. Of course, I can support you and have different views all the time. Me and Fitz have different views all the times on various subjects. You know what we do? We talk about it, we laugh about it, and every once in a while he tries to choke me out. Like that's what we do. That's how people are, and that's how people should act. But when you get there, oh well, he doesn't believe what I believe, and he supports this guy that I don't support. So it must mean that he's a different human being. It doesn't make sense.
It's always amateurs. It's almost always amateurs. I was in news broadcasting for a long time, and we always had discussions on politics, and we had heated discussions, and then we'd go out for drinks afterwards. I drank more than everybody else. We all went out for drinks afterwards, and we were nice to each other. So once this whole social media thing started, first of all, I couldn't get anybody to talk about politics with. I'm not even talking about arguing, like just talking about the history of politics. I couldn't get anybody to talk to me with. But once this whole social media thing said, you said one thing to somebody and they hated you forever. And it's just like, wait, that's not the way things go. And it's people who haven't been in the discussion. So they don't know how a political discussion goes, or any discussion, period, where you're exchanging ideas and maybe you disagree with somebody because they've never talked intelligently to other people. I'm sorry, but that's how people are. And
people are afraid to have uncomfortable discussions.
Yeah, he could go to that rally. He can do whatever he wants. I can also sit here and go, probably not the best idea, dude, until you maybe win a Super Bowl or you're a good quarterback, which I think he's looked good, but I'm not going to say he's a good quarterback yet.
Do you have to win a Super Bowl to accept an invite from the president?
No,
I mean,
you don't.
if the president invited you or his cabinet invites you to introduce him because you're at a rally in New York and you're probably the biggest sports figure in New York football right now, like I don't blame him for that, and I don't even think that he's wrong for that. I mean, like you went in the off season and did something that you were asked to do for the president of the United States. Now, whether or not you like that president, whether or not you dislike that president, it doesn't matter to me. Okay. And my views are my views, and I'll keep that to myself all the time. But just because you have a different point of view than somebody doesn't mean that it's any less or any more. And it doesn't mean that you can't get along and you can't support one another. I mean, how many times sports, that's why sports is my favorite. How many times we go to when the Bears threw the touchdown pass, when Caleb throws that touchdown pass to beat Green Bay, how many fans in the stands jumped up and hugged people that they've never met before in their life and had no clue what their political affiliation is, or their religious beliefs, their sexuality, anything like that? They were just happy because it didn't matter. It doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. We're all cheering for the same team and we're all having fun. Like that's the problem that we have in this country as a whole, is that we just don't accept people for their beliefs. And who the hell are we to not accept somebody for something that they believe? Who are we to think that our feelings are more important than the next person's feelings? I'm the first person to tell you that if I offend you, go fuck yourself. Like, because if I offend you, don't listen. If I offend you, go talk to somebody else. But I'm not
don't listen.
Who I am.
Yeah,
I mean, to help you.
And that's what I'm saying. If people want to be offended by it, they can. And Megan's right. If you get invited by the president, you might want to go. I wouldn't call you an asshole. If you don't like the president, you can have the freedom to say no too.
Yeah. There are plenty of people who have said no. There's been teams that have said no.
I did not know that was part of the story, that he was asked to go. I thought he decided to go. I did not know he was asked to go to the rally.
Yeah, he was invited.
He's asked to go to the rally and he likes the guy. I don't see a bunch of problems with it. But if he thought he wasn't gonna get anything, I mean, this is the most unpopular president probably ever right now. I mean,
he probably knew there was going to be some backlash.
He was going to get some backlash. People feel strongly about this guy. So yeah, but I wouldn't have said anything to him. No. And I think some of the backlash is pretty insane, especially because there is no backlash when someone beats the hell out of his wife and then drags her onto an elevator when she's knocked out cold.
It bothers me that both sides that are screaming are so dumb. I agree. Can you get I'm trying to pronounce the name to cap this off. Look, it's just that thing. It's kind of like the world we live in, right? You listen to the roast of Kevin Hart. That's kind of like the prime example of the way that American culture is right now. I watched the roast of Kevin Hart last week. I laughed through all 3 hours. I thought it was great. I thought it was hilarious.
It was great. I haven't seen the whole thing, but most of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and for the most part, they're calling Tony Hinchcliffe a racist, or which, if you don't know who Tony Hinchcliffe is from Kill Tony, I mean,
Yeah.
he's created opportunities for comics that are trying to come up.
Unbelievable.
I mean, he has been phenomenal in that, and it has nothing to do with actually. There's a black comic the other day on his show that said, "Man, if you're racist, you're really bad at it." Like, 'cause you
Yeah.
changed my life, so you had that for like every comic was talking about how he was a Nazi and a racist, and he was gay and all this stuff, and I mean, he's married to a
The
supermodel.
only it's crazy how the only person who was on that stage who had a problem with what was being said racially was a white blonde woman. Was
Yes,
a white blonde 50-year-old woman, Chelsea Handler, which it's
yes,
like, if you're offended, then yeah,
yes.
obviously don't watch or don't be on the stage. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you
I mean,
can't. So you were offended by a joke about George Floyd, in which, I mean, yeah, was it? But that's what especially roast comedy is. It tests your comfortability. And when you get past that, but you were sitting there for 3 hours listening to a comic who on stage, people talking about her husband who committed suicide. You didn't have a problem with that. That was okay. Talking about Pete Davidson's dad who died in 9/11.
yeah,
That was okay. But this one drew the line. I mean, that just goes to
yeah.
show what our society is right now. And that
Pete Davidson's dad, who died a hero, and you got George
yeah,
Floyd, who, I'm sorry, probably should not have died, but was a drug addict criminal. I
r
mean,
right.
and died because of those
A
things. I
and you've
mean,
had those I've had these conversations with plenty of people where we've only seen the last, what, 4 minutes of the video? Never seen what lead up to it. So, like, it's one of those things, and I get it, like, I understand, yes, and the cop was wrong, and that's why he's doing I think he got life in prison, correct? If I'm not mistaken, for murder. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure he got charged with murder and got life
Or
in prison.
yeah, I forgot what the charges were, but
Yeah,
yes,
but
he got
so
charged.
so okay, I mean, that's what happens when you kill somebody. You get charged with murder and you go to prison. That happens. We have people that kill people all the time. But I think the thing that people miss is that this is exactly why the country is this way, because we've allowed it to get to this point. We've allowed
Doubting Thomas.
the 1% get
I
to
am
the
I am another good comment, and I am surprised or question, and I am as surprised as you are. Combs watched a 3-hour Netflix show during the WNBA season. I am surprised.
I don't like the way they're treating Caitlin Clark, so I'm
Now that she's not very good anymore.
well, I mean, there's something going on in that locker. She got in a fight with the coach last night during the game and then got benched. Like, there's something going on in that locker room that we don't know about. There's a reason why when they are pumping up an Indiana Fever game, she's not even in the highlight package. Like, there's something there that we don't know
Yeah.
about, and I don't know what it is, but it's affecting Caitlin Clark on the court too. And so, look, I think there's plenty of good players
Yeah,
in the
well,
WNBA.
white people are the last race you can legally hate. I
Well,
think that's
yes,
I think that's part of it.
I
I
mean,
mean, I hate to
I
say
had
it,
this
but it is.
conversation the other day
I'll
at
say it
the
out loud.
school where, it was myself and I had 4 students on the radio show with me, and they're all black students, and we're sitting on the radio, and I said, "Well, let's play word association," and, black pride, Asian pride, gay pride, and then the last word I said was white pride, and the word associated with white pride was racism. And
Yeah.
and it's like, why does that have to be the thing? And it's because that's what we've been taught. That's what we've been taught our entire lives. Starts with school, right? There's a reason why you don't learn about interest rates in school, but you learn about the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, right? There's sort of a reason. It's kind of indoctrinated into you
Yeah.
to think a certain way. How do you, the question that I pose to all of them, we've all seen the history books. We've all read the books. How many of us were alive in 1812 to know what was going on? How do you know what you're reading is actually the truth and not just something that is meant to show you, hey, this
That
is
the
how you
winners
should act,
wrote.
how you should feel.
That the winners wrote.
Yeah. It's just it's one of those things, but people don't want to think like that because there's too many people in this world that just want to think about themselves.
It's like people saying that Michael Jordan didn't go play basketball or go play baseball because he was being suspended for gambling.
And he said children can't survive in such a frigid bitch. The one that got me was when he talked about Lizzo, when he said something, I forget what he said, is the struggle is real. And he said that was the name of the movie, or how Lizzo describes stairs. And I was like, that's crazy. And even Lizzo, but even the George Floyd joke at the time, I mean, if you watch the roast, when he said that, I mean, like Kevin Hart stood up and he laughed. He loved it. He thought it was a great joke. Like, to me, and I don't mean to bring it up to, to bring politics or anything into the conversation, but that's just the way that our society is. And that's why when you look at stuff like the Jackson Dart stuff and you look at the way the NFL has made that the headline as opposed to Josh Jacobs being the headline.
Yeah. Who's strangling. Did you hear that?
No, he denies all of it. And so until he's proven guilty, I mean, it could be that false allegations. We've seen it before, right? Like we saw it with Trevor Bauer.
Fell down the stairs and got beaten and strangled.
I
know. The innocent people are proven guilty, but
I'm going to say allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah, we have to say that
against him. Say
our production team is saying I have to say allegedly. Yes.
But why is that not the focus? Why is Josh Jacobs, and I guarantee Josh Jacobs might get a 2-game suspension. I'd be surprised if it's 4.
Why is there so much girlfriend or wife beating from NFL players? And try to answer the question without saying the word steroids.
And why isn't it more punishable? Why was Tyreek Hill allowed to play a full season?
I mean, that is there. I mean, his wife.
Yeah,
like several accounts of him beating her.
Yes,
and then she burnt his house down and said it was their kids.
And he's going to be another guy who's nobody's going to sign this year, and everybody's going to go and everybody's going to forget about what he did because nobody's going to sign him because he's just not worth the headache anymore. Plus, he's only got one leg now as a wide receiver. So. I don't.
Outing Thomas, there's no shortage of white pride in your neighborhood, Combs.
Unreal.
He was on a roll for a second there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miguel Vargas just had an unbelievable catch. White Sox win.
Yes.
Easy at Doubting Thomas. John Fitzgibbons enters the chat.
It's called
Doubting Thomas or John?
I got John. 100. I've got Megan over down.
It is CT, but but 90% of football players are taking steroids or some variation.
But the other problem is there's no backlash for it. There's no punishment for it. You know what I mean? Like there's
no, yeah, there isn't, and there's no players coming out. There's players coming out about him going to a rally. Yeah, and there's no players coming out going. Yeah, he beat a defenseless woman.
Like I don't want Tyreek Hill on my team. I don't want Josh Jacobs on my team. I don't want why did nobody say, man, I looked at this and thought it was AI when the Ray Rice video came out? There's no or
Kareem Hunt. Didn't Kareem Hunt have a video or yeah, he had a video.
Girl in the face.
Yeah.
Like there was a point where I wanted Kareem Hunt to be the Bears field goal kicker. Just after watching that video, because I thought he'd do a good job. You look at the way the NFL handles this stuff, it's backwards. Because you've had players lose their career for their entire career. Look at who's the wide receiver, the Browns? Josh was it Cribbs?
Yeah, not Josh Cribbs. I know what you're talking about. For saying that he was doing cocaine and smoking weed before a game. There's guys who
he kept getting suspended for it. He had multiple suspensions for smoking weed.
There's an old Fitz gibberish out there somewhere on the interwebs about because I think it just that in some states there was a Denver, it was legal in Colorado, and there was a Denver tight end who didn't want to take Vicodin. So he smoked weed and he had some concussions and stuff like that. And he got dinged for that. And he came out. He was on a Real Sports episode. So you got these guys taking pharmaceutical drugs instead of being able to smoke weed. Yeah. And being suspended for smoking weed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
It's insane. And the NFL has to completely change their stance on it. The NFL has to have people come out and talk about this. The NFL has to take it the bull by the horn, and they have to make some suspensions here. But Josh Jacobs should not be allowed to play this year. I'm just sorry, he shouldn't. Well, and then if he's found guilty, or found innocent, it's a whole different but you cannot be playing football while these allegations are there. And how do players support that? And how do players want guys like that around their daughters and around their wives? Like, I just don't understand that mentality. When nobody's going to come out and speak out about this, but they're going to speak out about Jackson Dart. Like, it's just incredible to me. And the NFL has it backwards, man. They just do. And I don't know if it gets better. And you talk about CTE. I mean, Claude Lemieux of the New Jersey Devils, who took his own life this week. Probably another form of CTE. Like, what is the NHL going to do? They're probably going to have some equipment, changes. I don't know that the NHL will ever change the rules, because that's like the man of man sport, supposedly, and you can't really change the rule. Like, I don't even know how you would change the rules to prevent CTE, but there's going to have to be some sort of equipment thing that happens to try to prevent CTE, like the Guardian caps in the NFL, right?
They can't skate anymore. They got to go out there in their bare feet.
It's we're going to play floor hockey from now on. Non-contact floor hockey.
Why is it okay when Randy Orton punts people, but not Grant? Because Randy Orton is a fucking legend. Remember when Dante Stallworth ran over a woman and killed her and played NFL football?
Yes.
Ray Lewis helped kill somebody.
Yes. And now is in the Hall of Fame.
No other sport like it.
And now speaks out in schools about taking innocent black lives when he took an innocent black life. So, like, it's just you've got the bad press. You've got the fact that nobody comes out and talks about this, though. Like, even at the media level. Like, how is this not on ESPN?
No
Why
one wants to kill the golden goose
on ESPN or on Fox Sports? You know what I mean? Why does it take a podcast like ours to come out here and talk about the problem that is in the NFL with domestic violence?
The same reason why no one's talking about Kelce or Polymarket or the basketball scandal in the beginning of the year, and they'd rather, look at the NBA playoffs ratings. They're great, even though, well, maybe it's not real. There's a possible somebody's shaving points or somebody's doing that. No one's talking about that on ESPN or anything like that, because they're so involved. They're so in the bag with the players and the teams and everything else, so they can get access to these teams. They don't care. They're so in the bag with these teams that no one's investigating, no one's talking about it, and no one's saying this either, because they don't want to kill their golden goose.
You want to read it?
Juice was loose for a bit.
Oh, some of the things we talk about. All right. I mean, look, we've got the White Sox win. Cubs play Sunday Night Baseball. I think we're just going to end it there.
The Sox are one game out of first, and they have the same record as your Chicago Cubs,
who are just coming off of a 10-game losing streak. So congratulations.
Here we go.
Congratulations. We've caught up to the team that lost 10 in a row last week. We're back. We're back. That was like my buddy the other day when I said Andrew Benintendi needs to be DFA'd. And then he hits a double and a home run. He's like, "What were you saying?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, he's back now because he's had 2 hits against the Tigers and he's hitting 170." Like, come on, what are we doing? What are we doing?
You could use Benintendi in right field.
We could use you in right field. I mean,
Benintendi, Dansby, Swanson, batting back to back. That'll scare him.
That will scare him. All right. Thank you to everybody who joined us. We had a lot of watchers today.
Yeah, we did.
Spike up at
who is watching the watchers though?
I mean, I don't know. Not the NFL, that's for sure.
Palantir.
Somebody was, for sure. ChatGPT. All right. Till next week. Same bad time. Same bad channel. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. Tell your enemies. See ya.
Adios.